Welcome back to today's Explainer, everyone. So, we're diving into a story today that is just incredibly heartwarming, but also, let's be real, absolutely chaotic. It's all about a family's desperate race against time. Look, if you've ever had a beautifully structured plan completely fall apart the minute it hits messy reality, you're going to feel this one in your bones. We're looking at just how far people will go for the ones they love and what exactly happens when literally every single step seems destined to fail.
Which brings us to the big question, right? What actually happens when the perfect surprise goes completely wrong? You know the feeling. We've all been there. We have the absolute best intentions. We map out every tiny detail in our heads, and then boom, reality throws a massive wrench into the whole thing. The source material we're looking at today just perfectly captures this tension. It shows how we adapt, how we overcome the chaos, and honestly, how all those little mistakes often make the final result way more meaningful than perfection ever could.
Okay, so it all kicks off right here. Today is Mother's Day, but mom went to work early. We must do something special. So mom is exhausted. She's working incredibly hard to support her family. And as a result, she's completely missing out on our own special day. Naturally, the kids, Ethan and Noah, wake up their dad, who, by the way, is definitely very confused by all the early morning noise at first, and they collectively realize, okay, we've got to spring into action. They just want to make her smile. The stakes? Officially set. Let's dive into the execution, or, well, the attempted execution. On one hand, we have the family's ideal vision, the absolute perfect plan. Get mom's favorite flowers, carnations, and bake her a delicious, completely from scratch chocolate cake. Sounds super simple, right? But then they step out the door and they slam right into a very messy reality. The carnations completely sold out everywhere. Their first attempt at baking ends up being a cake made of salt instead of sugar, and on top of all that, their kitchen oven literally breaks down. It's just this incredible comedic cascade of total disasters. And to make matters so much worse, they are operating on a completely unyielding timeline. Their morning mission starts early, right when mom leaves for the office. But by mid-morning, they're already hitting these massive roadblocks. Every single carnation in town was pre-ordered days in advance. And looming over all this total panic is a really strict 11 a.m. deadline. That is exactly when mom is scheduled to come back home. So this isn't just some casual, we'll get it done when we get it done gesture. This is a high-stakes, adrenaline-fueled race against the clock. Moving right into section 1, the trials. A real recipe for disaster. Let's look at how a simple act of love turns into total kitchen chaos. The guys decide a store-bought cake just isn't gonna cut it, so they dig out this old recipe book from a top shelf. It's so covered in dust it actually makes them cough. They start following the steps. Step 1, pour the flour, gently crack the eggs. Step 2, add what they are absolutely sure is sugar. Step 3, bake it for 30 minutes. They're sitting right by the oven, just so full of hope. And then step 4, they taste it, and that's the devastating realization that they use salt. You honestly just have to love the dad's deadpan reaction here. He says, "This is a very special cake. It is a salty chocolate cake. This is not a good cake." I mean, they know they've completely botched this highly anticipated surprise, but instead of throwing in the towel and just giving up, they laugh it off. They own the failure, and they resolve that they absolutely have to try again. It's just a fantastic display of resilience. But guys, the salty cake is just the tip of the iceberg here. The carnations, sold out everywhere. The recipe book, buried under years of dust. Then, just as they're meticulously prepping the batter for their second attempt at the cake, the kitchen oven just suddenly dies, completely broken down. And while they're scrambling to fix that, a massive, heavy rainstorm rolls in out of nowhere, which threatens the one crucial flour delivery they actually managed to scrape together. When you lay it all out like this, you really have to appreciate just how much sheer perseverance this one simple Mother's Day surprise is requiring. Which brings us to section 2, relying on the community and getting help from some really unexpected places. Now this is where the narrative makes this really beautiful shift. The family quickly realizes they simply cannot pull this mission off alone, and that's when these unexpected helpers step up. We've got Jack the florist, who's an old friend of Dad's. He happens to have just a few carnations left, despite the town-wide shortage, and he agrees to personally deliver them before that strict 11 a.m. deadline. Then there's Mrs. Lily, their incredibly kind neighbor. She graciously opens her home and lets them use her working oven so they can finally bake that second sugar-filled cake. These community connections literally become the ultimate saviors of their crumbling plan. But of course, we have one final, totally nerve-wracking obstacle. Like we just mentioned, that heavy rain starts pouring down. Jack the florist's delivery driver actually gets stuck in the storm, which seriously delays the delivery and puts that critical 11 a.m. deadline in massive jeopardy. Meanwhile, the text shows us Mom finishing up her paperwork at the office. She's exhausted, she feels a bit weird working on Mother's Day, and she's getting ready to head home early. So the tension back at the house is just through the roof. The kids are staring at the clock, basically praying these flowers arrive before she walks through the front door. Okay, moving to section 3, the ripple effect. Because love is definitely contagious. So while he's stuck navigating this crazy rainstorm, the delayed delivery driver actually does something amazing. He's been so deeply inspired by the sheer stubborn dedication of this family trying to get flowers to their mom that he takes a second to call his own mother. He says, "I am sorry I cannot come home this year. I sent you a small gift." And his mom, she's just thrilled to hear his voice. It's amazing, right? The family's incredibly messy, stressful, chaotic morning actually rippled outward. It inspired a completely separate, beautiful act of love miles and miles away. And finally, section 4, the true meaning of love. Mom comes home. The moment of truth. She finally walks in the door. She is expecting absolutely nothing, maybe even feeling a little forgotten after grinding all morning at work. But instead, she finds her favorite carnations and a brand new from-scratch chocolate cake just waiting for her. And her reaction is literally everything. She says, "I do not need perfect things. I only need my family like this." See? Mom doesn't care that the oven broke. She doesn't care that the first cake was practically a salt lick, or that the entire morning was complete and utter chaos. She just sees the immense effort. She realizes that the imperfect, messy effort, that is the perfect gift. But wait, the story doesn't quite end there, and honestly, this is what makes it so special. After they celebrate, the family remembers Mrs. Lily, the neighbor who lent them her oven when they were in full crisis mode. Now, Mrs. Lily lives alone. Her kids live far away, and her house is pretty quiet. So what does the family do? They march a massive slice of that successful chocolate cake and some of those hard-won carnations right over to her house. Their reasoning is so simple but so profound. No one should feel alone on Mother's Day. They literally take the love that was generated in their messy kitchen and just extend it right back out into the world. And I think this just brilliantly illustrates our core theme for today's explainer: community. It's a network of helpers, people like Mrs. Lily and Jack the florist, who step in when perfection completely fails. It proves that shared struggles actually build much deeper connections. A broken oven and missing flowers didn't ruin this family's day. They were the exact catalysts that brought neighbors together, connected old friends, and made the entire experience totally unforgettable for everyone involved. Which leaves us with this final, and I think really provocative question to ponder today. How can you show appreciation for the unsung heroes in your own life? Whether it's a hardworking mom, a relentlessly helpful neighbor, or even a florist breathing a heavy rainstorm for you. Remember, your gesture doesn't have to be flawlessly executed. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be from the heart. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you found this breakdown as fascinating as I did. And I highly, highly encourage you to take this lesson of imperfect, resilient love straight out into your own community.